What is up, everybody? Good to see everybody in the house, wherever you are in the world. As always, I'm Andrew Esquire here in my new apartment. We'll talk about that in a second, but good to see you. We are live today. This is live and just live and raw. We're doing it. It's 8:30 a.m. over here, but wherever I am, whatever time it is, I'm here for you guys on this channel. We're going to have some guests on this as well. I've invited some folks that have been helping me get to 100K. Some of the folks that have been sitting around and kind of helping me get here. Like my good coon-ass friend here, Valiant, who called me at 7:45 a.m. saying, "Hello, this is Ladyboy Delivery Service." Very hilarious, very hilarious, Valiant. But good to see everybody here in the chat. What's up, everybody? There. Good to see everybody. Let me give a special shout out to all the members of the chat. What's up, Sleazy, Vlaine, Danielle? Who else we got here? Tia Nina. What's going on? Good to see you, chat. Andrew F. Who else we got? Ike Brovlovsky, Bob Johnson. What's going on, Bob? Bella Stella, Legendary Racing. Good to see you, Deha Ko. What's up, brother? We got AL. We got Valiant, of course, our Johns, JC. Yeah, good to see all y'all in the chat here today. Megaloid, what's going on? And yeah, I know that Mexican Iron Man's running around. He's got a bunch of stuff to handle. But that being said, appreciate all of those guys for helping out today. We're probably gonna end up switching up the times a little bit for those that have been on this kind of ride with me from Legal Mindset. Obviously, as I'm spending more time in Thailand and Korea, 2-hour time difference. So 7 p.m. is just way too early, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's, essentially either 7 or 6 a.m. depending on whether it's daylight savings time or not. So this is probably more of the regular time for the PM live streams. And then I will also be doing, I think probably a little bit more of the AM streams as well. So those will happen on this channel. I'm going to try to, especially going forward, do at least one live stream on this channel per week. We'll also have lives on Locals. My Locals crew knows those. You can join Locals if you want more of me live. There'll be also new videos dropping pretty much every single day. I've been trying to keep to that, and I think I've actually been successful. But yeah, good to see everybody here today. Silver Smurfer, what's going on? Good to see you. Grant Rasha. Yep, good to see all you guys in the chat. So anyways, let me just jump right into it today. So there's kind of a slew of updates I want to get to here. We're going to start with going with the case update. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to handle is the case update for Disney. Actually, before we do that, we'll handle this mass exodus bullshit because that's absolute crap. We'll debunk that at first. But then we'll get into the case update, both for the state case and the federal case. So obviously for Disney, there is still a state case going on. We'll give you an update on the status there, what's going on, where that's at, what we should expect, some of the big movements in the state case, and then the federal case. What's the latest news on that one? Starting us out here with the first super chat is Bella Stella for 10 saying, congrats on the 100K. Guys, the 100K celebration stream is coming. Do not worry, it is coming. I'm looking for exactly how we do this and, what we can do on YouTube versus what we may have to do privately because it's too spicy for YouTube. But the celebration party is coming. I just want to give everybody some time and make sure that we're solidly above that. The thing is with YouTube, the way it bounces up and down, sometimes you can go over and then all of a sudden YouTube decides they want to make you lose 500 or 1,000 subs. Then you bump under. So I want to try to push to get, about like 101K. Then I'm like, all right, we're a full 1,000 people over. It's a little bit more safe than a squishy 100. They may always try to make you drop under that. But yeah, obviously, guys, that's going to happen. Don, let's just say the option is explored. But good to see all you guys here today. Yeah, cool. No congrats until he gets that A. Congrats on 100K is like saying you're happy your kid got a C. He's in Asia. No congrats until he gets that A. Very true. Very true. And for those in America, because someone mentioned that as well, I'm going to try to be at Anime Matsuri. That's still my general thing that's over there in August. And then we'll see what other things happen. But there'll definitely be something in Florida and probably something in Vegas as well on the U.S. side. All right, so let's just jump right into it. And let's start with this crazy Disney article. So, and I picked this up first by actually reading Fox. Which once again can be tradcon media sometimes, but when I saw this headline, I went, okay, we got to cover this. So Disney owns ABC, right? So they're pushing a lot of these stories out that are pro Disney, that are Disney narrative centric, that are sending this, Republican states, red states are anti-LGBTQA++, this propaganda message that these states are dangerous. So they've also, allied with, for example, the NAACP, pushing out the message that, Florida and Texas, they're bad for black people. They really don't like black people there. So, there's this growing message that people are suddenly leaving these red states, particularly Florida, but also Texas. And this particular article, which if you go to the original here, talks about genocidal, that there's a genocide going on in Texas and Florida, that this is just a mass thing. I love how they say people are fleeing in droves and there's like a single person here. It's like, okay, weirdo. Once again, finding one or two examples of something in people who say they're going to leave, right? Say, okay, we're going to leave Texas. They find one couple. That always reminds me of the folks that leave after an election. There's always people who threaten to leave after an election. They say, okay, well, Biden won, I'm going to leave, or Trump won, I'm going to leave, whatever it was. Hillary won, I'm going to leave. Well, I would actually advocate that if Hillary had won. That being said, and I guess as a person who did leave the country and who is not presently in the country, I guess I can say I stuck to my guns, but most people don't. Particularly the people on the left, they typically do not leave the states they're in because, frankly, they are usually poor and do not have the resources and are stuck and are in some grindy job that they can't get out of because they do not have the capacity for entrepreneurship. They don't have the capacity to do something new, to take risks and chances. That's not what they do as deranged leftists. So I don't think there's going to be a mass fleeing of folks, whether it's people who have transgendered children. That shouldn't even be a thing. Those words should never come out of people's mouths. But I don't think this is going to be a thing. And I'm not surprised that Disney is trying to push that. I'm not surprised that that's the narrative they're trying to go with, because that fits how they want to paint the state of Florida. That fits how they want to paint Ron DeSantis. And that fits how they want to paint Floridians. So just popping that out there. Pretty much think it's complete BS. But let's see what you guys think. Lefties leave states like Florida towards places of vanity like SF, LA, and NY. I don't know about that though, Andrew. Frankly, okay, LA maybe, right? As a person who lived in Florida, I know some people that would want to live in San Francisco or LA. In San Francisco, if they got a job there, in LA, if they were trying to do something in show business. But frankly, both of those cities, highly overrated. And I'm a fan of not dealing with rampant crime, homeless people, just trying to avoid that. Yeah, but it's good to see it's so good to see a chat that's really moving again. It's really moving. And we'll get to the Saudi rumor. We're going to talk about Lucasfilm and Star Wars, particularly when my guests show up, which they should be here relatively shortly. So we'll have those. We'll have those here in a second. Also, Sierra Tan, member for 2 months. Thank you for sending a blank member chat. Appreciate you. And all those that have the capacity to member chat, feel free to member chat away. I'm trying to keep my eye on those. So send those in, shoot those over. Happy to run those as well. So yeah, and the only thing I think that this is indicative of is they're going to try to start pushing, and they already are pushing, folks like Gavin Newsom. You know, they're changing the narrative from he's this COVID tyrant to this savior of the trans children that are fleeing. The truth is, and the truth of the matter is, demographically, California, for the first time in a long time, actually lost people. And I think it was the last year was the first year. But the thing is, in California's history, they have not lost people. And I think this is going to be a huge, huge thing. So, yeah, this was last year. California's population has fallen for the first time in history. So they were banking on, California is pretty much banking, its system banks on it growing forever and being a destination people move to endlessly. And of course, their Department of Finance, this is in small print here, but they said the Department of Finance expects that the state will add population the next year. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. This is, I think, a trend which is not going to reverse. I think we've gotten to a tipping point where people are fed up with the BS of LA, of San Francisco. It's simply not worth it. Now, I understand. Look, I get why people want to move to Cali. A lot of places the weather is fantastic. It's great. It's probably some of the best weather in the country. There's also some beautiful nature, some beautiful natural spots there, but it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable in terms of what they're doing there financially and socially as well. So let me get the super chat. So Camelbot Killer says, any mentor said of hating Georgia, I-85 goes two ways. I like it. I like it. No, I have no problem with Georgia, by the way. Georgia, I've had great times in Atlanta. My grandmother's from Valdosta, Georgia, out there, lived a very rural life. She actually grew up on a farm in Valdosta. So, no, I have no problem with Georgia. I'm not one of those big, just because I went to UF means I have to hate all of Georgia. Yeah, I'll root for UF in the, in the football game up in Jacksonville. But that's about where my distaste for Georgia stops. But there are lots of rumors running out here about what's going on in Florida. And I want to get to another one, which is kind of insidious. And this is one that I caught very recently. And that is this trend of these fake Nazi protesters. And now this is, of course, from Sky News. Of course, it's from a very leftist journalist here. But this is one of the news they had out there that I just want you guys to be aware of, because I know that some of you have been with Legal Mindset for a while. Some of you have been following this channel for a very long while. And some of you get the game. You understand how this works. You've seen what happened in Virginia with the Youngkin campaign. You've seen what they've tried to do in other instances with kind of these almost false flag, but essentially these are leftists. These are people who are members of BLM or whatever. And they dress up in essentially Nazi cosplay or white supremacist cosplay. They go around with some flags. They have masks over their face most of the time. And they make it seem like a particular person is associated with white supremacy. This is a thing. So you just have to understand that the people that are doing this outside of Disney World are probably Disney World employees. I'm just throwing it out there, or Disney World affiliates. These folks over here that are allegedly, while they're all wearing masks and, kind of covered up, and you got this grainy photo, right? This grainy photo from a leftist representative, right? So this was taken, let me just zoom in here. This was taken by Anna Escami, who's a Florida leftist representative. So she obviously took this picture of these supposed Nazi flags outside of Disney World, And apparently they were also having pictures of Ron DeSantis as well. So they had a Make America Florida flag, right? And they were apparently supporting DeSantis. I think it's an attempt by Disney to paint Ron DeSantis as a Nazi. Then you had people who know nothing, like Abigail Disney, a known leftist, commenting on this. Abigail Disney is ashamed to her grandfather. The fact that Abigail said, oh, my grandfather's spinning in his grave. Shut up, Abigail. You've done nothing for the company. You know nothing of business. And frankly, you know nothing of Roy Orwald. And then, of course, Pink commented on it. Oh, my God. We've got two women who knew nothing about it commenting on Twitter. How crazy, right? And a known extreme leftist representative who's commenting on this. Absolutely undeniable. But guys, just understand, if you're new to this, that this is part of the game they play when you see things like that. I just roll my eyes because I know what's going on. Is where they're standing owned by Disney? Good question. Probably not. It's probably owned by RCID. Oh, wait, did I say RCID? I meant the CFTOD, the new district. It's probably owned by the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. And because of that, it is public property. They can likely protest it. It's likely a permitted protest zone. So probably not illegal. So thank you for that. Let me get over here and just check in on my locals. If you guys aren't over there on legalmindset.locals.com, make sure you go over there and check in on that. These guys are always great, always doing degen stuff. Have sent a low amount of memes this morning. Very disappointed in them. But it's always a good place to hang out. And then we'll get these super chats. Deha Ko says, another reason people are fleeing Cali. Allstate and State Farm dropped homeowners insurance coverage from too many wildfires. Wait, what? I did not know this was a thing. Speaking of insurance and a person who needs it because he is a personal risk to everybody he comes into contact with, that is my good friend Stu. Hi, Renegade. How's it going, brother?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good to see you. Hey, thank you for coming on, and thank you for joining me on this ride to 100K.
Absolutely. And wait, I've been out of it. I've got a lot of kid stuff going on, including why I'm late tonight. The last 2 days.
And hold on, let's be very clear.
Yeah.
When he says kid stuff, he means real kid stuff, not the type of kid stuff that Disney is getting involved in, and the transient of children. Dad stuff,
kids.
And actual dad stuff, yes.
So my oldest, the last 2 days, I left the house early Monday morning to head out to the great, beautiful city of Lafayette, Louisiana, for college orientation for my oldest at the University of Louisiana. Beautiful campus. Got home late last night. I'm still trying to get in the groove right now. And then as I was coming on here tonight, when I called you on the phone, I'm like, I just woke up. I'm so, okay, we're going on. I'm like, okay, I'm here. I turned around. I'm like, I live with 3 girls, including my wife, and one of the toilets in the house was clogged. I had to go deal with plumbing issues.
Yeah, that happens.
Before I came, so it's
happens.
always something. It's always something.
Let me ask you something, because I was talking with someone who was explaining Louisiana liquor laws to me, because apparently last night they're telling me that, of course, it was the last state to change the drinking age, but apparently in Louisiana, what they did was they said, okay, it's 21 to drink and to buy, but there's no minor in possession charges in Louisiana. So, from what I understood, like if the people go to the bar and the guy who's 21 buys and comes back and drops drinks, that drinks happen to find themselves on the table, that's not really something that happens to be investigated.
Unless something has really changed. Louisiana has always been far more liberal in quote unquote liberal.
The drive-through daiquiris and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we still have that, right? Yeah. I mean, the thing in Louisiana, like you can drive through, pick up a daiquiri, buy beer, have it in the car, as long as in the case of the drive-through daiquiris, as long as the straw does not puncture the lid. No, this is literally how it works here.
No, I got it. Yeah, don't puncture. Yeah. Don't puncture. Yeah.
Yeah, no puncturing. As long as the top of the beer is not popped, that's fine.
Got it.
And this is, when those of us from Louisiana, which we call adult land, like when I went to Salt Lake City, when my lovely wife had a conference there with the American Choral Directors Association years ago, I went to Utah. I'm inside of a hotel. I buy a drink at a bar, and I'm like, give me whatever it was, bourbon, whatever. And they had like a digital measuring system. They were not allowed by law to pour me a double, but they could give me 2 singles in 2 different glasses.
What?
Oh, yes. I'm not kidding.
They cannot pour you a double? What type of communist shithole is this where you can't get a goddamn double? That was in
Utah, in Salt Lake City. Wait, it gets better, Andrew. Inside the hotel. And look, all due respect, Salt Lake City is a beautiful city. You guys have... Oh my God! It is
99% less homelessness than
it is the cleanest, most exquisite public transportation system I've ever seen. It's beautiful, but I got balled out because inside the hotel, I left the bar/restaurant to walk 50 feet into the lounge where my wife was sitting inside the building, and I got stopped because I could not carry an alcoholic beverage down the hall from the restaurant in the hotel to the lounge in the hotel inside the same building. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm from New Orleans. We don't understand this. And like, these people looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, we can walk outside of a building with a drink in our hands. I mean, you could practically buy a bourbon at McDonald's here, walk out and go down the street, and nobody would care.
Which is fantastic, by the way. I mean, the fact open, like especially on the street, public open container laws. I've always had a problem with those. I've always thought those were bullshit. I appreciate being able to walk around. In by the way, most countries you can do this. It's like a very American thing to prohibit the open containers without prohibiting drinking altogether, right? If you're doing some sort of Middle Eastern Sharia type, we're prohibiting alcohol like in general. Okay, I get it, right? But if alcohol is legal, then you should be able to legally consume it after you purchased it, including purchasing it at a restaurant or at a convenience store. And let's say you don't want to finish your drink. It becomes a road beer. It becomes a road drink.
It does. And here's the thing. When people look at like all the crazy Mardi Gras videos right from New Orleans, and they think that, oh my God, everything down there is so nuts. No, y'all, listen. That's all tourists. That's not actual New Orleans people that you see on Girls Gone Wild or whatever else, all these crazy Mardi Gras videos. Those of us who are from New Orleans look at the stuff in embarrassment. All the people that come down here and do the crazy stuff and can't handle the alcohol and act like morons, 100% tourists. Those of us that live here, that have grown up here, this is like that. We don't get it. We do not get it. It's hilarious. So
that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
But speaking of crazy, I know we got to get into Disney stuff. So
yes. But did you hear about this one? Because I know you do a little bit of insurance about Allstate and State Farm dropping homeowners insurance in California. I had not known about that. I
hadn't seen that one, but it doesn't surprise me. Allstate, State Farm, obviously, look, coming from Hurricane Alley down here in Louisiana after Katrina, we saw a massive, seismic shift following Katrina, where we had a lot of major insurers. To say leave the state would, legally kind of an effective term, but culturally not accurate, right? So they leave the state in the sense that existing policies would still remain in force, short of them being under, say, 3 years old. But in terms of writing new policies, they left the state. So that seems to me what's happening now with the PNC. That's property and casualty for everybody out there. PNC underwriters out there, where they're trying to limit risk, because over the course of time, we've seen this from the federal government, to where what started out as a national flood policy has become like a national emergency policy. FEMA has changed the gamut over time. which to some extent is unfortunate because what FEMA has done, I think, to their detriment, but of course, we're continuously moving towards a more statist society, right?
Right.
Where the
right.
government is just going to bail yo ass out no matter how stupid and irresponsible you are.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that though, Valiant, because I think that they'll bail out the corporations for sure. I'm not sure they're gonna. I mean, this idea that the government is just gonna help you in a time of need, I think that's a dangerous thing for individuals to rely upon. That the government's going to do that,
that's
right?
what they did,
if that's, the government's going to fix this. No, I understand they have, right, and they have bailed out some stupid decisions, some stupid corporations and individual decisions. However, to rely upon that, I think is foolhardy.
I 100% agree. No, don't rely on it. My point is, like, we saw this, especially down here in Louisiana after Katrina, to where it's like, oh, you didn't actually be responsible, or you weren't responsible. You didn't buy into the National Flood Insurance Program. We'll pay for your damages anyway. That's what FEMA did. It was like, it screwed the whole system. And that's why now that people who used to play, for a non-flood zone, like we have never flooded in the history of ever, $250 a year, now they're paying $1,000 a year for the same coverage for they've never flooded in the history of ever. That's the problem. So this is kind of becoming an issue across the nation with a multitude of different natural disasters. Now, I understand from an insurance standpoint, a legal perspective, that there are things that can only be really covered at a federal level with a government entity, right? Or what they call an NGO or something like this, to where, like the National Flood Program.
Well, but the point is about those restrictions, Valiant, is like they've made those things national only because they've overregulated the insurance industry.
Exactly.
And once again, this gets back to the generalization that the overregulation is the problem in the first place, right? Creating those barriers, creating those, okay, this has got to be national versus this got to be state, right?
Yeah.
That's something that has been screwed up by our politicians in DC. Speaking of people who aren't screwing up, though, we need to get some of these, because Mexican Iron Man is not here to move us along, but I carry his spirit with me always, and his tacos. Thank you, Leprechaun. Go for $100 super chat. Appreciate you very much.
Amazing.
There in the chat. Appreciate that. Thank you for that, and always appreciate your support on this channel. Next, we got Hunch, who said, Fort Myers needs to give women a decision if they want their driver's license. Then they need to give up their driver's license. Yeah, I heard you were in a predicament, Hunch. I hope you're all right. I hope you're all right. Avoid Priuses in the future. Stay safe, my friend. Fort Myers, a lot of traffic. Listen, I've almost gotten in many accidents in Fort Myers. Just be very careful. They have not developed out the roads there yet. Just gonna be serious. Jay says Indiana is the same. Can't have more than one beer on the table. I'd have to take the old beer before I put it down. Yeah. What the fuck?
There are bizarre alcohol laws out there in the U.S. And like I said, people from Louisiana don't get this. But I tell you what we do get.
I appreciate your civil law.
840 people watching in chat right now.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate there are only 300 likes. Y'all.
Guys,
smack it.
Let's get to 600. We can do this. Let's get to 600. Give me 600. We can do it. Smash the like button right now. If you're viewing live,
500 like that.
It's
like
a click.
That.
It's a click on your phone. It's a click on your thing. Just smash that like button. We'll get there in 2 seconds. Jameson, we will get to the Disney adult star stuff. I'm waiting. In fact, I'm waiting to be joined by maybe one or two others here in a second. WW Pros is recording at the moment for a video tomorrow. Good on you. Happy to 100K until I can say so in person. What a milestone. What achievement. Hey, Pro, appreciate you. Appreciate the message. Appreciate the super chat, and look forward to talking with you in the near future. And thank you to everybody who has helped me on this journey to 100K.
Well, we just went up 100 likes in the last minute. So let's we can do this. 500 likes. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go, chat. Y'all got
happening.
this.
It's happening.
And share. Hit the share button. This is what helps Andrew. I mean, we're celebrating Andrew's 100K.
Whoa,
This
not
happens
yet, not yet.
Well,
We're celebrating it, but I want to do the official celebration once I've peaked up a little bit over.
Okay,
because I don't want to.
We are tacitly celebrating Andrew's 100K. But
Yes.
let me tell you what, chat, and this is, I know Andrew doesn't like to do this stuff, but I do. I'm the sales
hate it.
guy.
I hate it.
I know you do. But look, this only happens because of the wonderful chat and these amazing, absolutely amazing moderators and wrenches that we have that Andrew and I share. A lot of them out there. Danielle is a boss. And everybody else, all these other wrenches out there, bosses. Thank you so much. Share the video out. This would tells YouTube, send the other people in, because you guys and girls out there watching right now love what you're seeing, and you want to get other people in here. That's a big help. Andrew is too modest to do this. I'm not. I'm an asshole. So I'm going to sit here and sell this thing for him because he deserves it, and he's worked his butt off for this. And I'm in awe over here of what Andrew has done, and I love him. This is my ride or die brother. And
appreciate it. And we have been through a lot together, and I do appreciate the folks that have been and hung around on this channel. Whether you're out there, whether you're a wrench, whether you're a member, whether just somebody's hanging out in the chat, those that have been around for a while, you know what we've seen, you know what we've done on this channel, and I appreciate you. Speaking of which, Hunch says, sorry, the choice is driver's license or smartphone for women. They can't have both. Booze is talking for me. Hey, listen, you ain't in Utah, you ain't in Illinois. Have as many on the table in Florida as you want, my friend, because that's the rules down in Florida. So we'll get to that. I said we'll get to the adult star stuff. Don't worry about that. I got that one queued up. Don't you worry about that. And Camelbot Killer says, VR, what movie are you looking forward to seeing? So what is on your I would like to see this movie list?
Man, I've got a bunch this summer. I tell you what.
One. You give me one.
What, my most excited movie?
One.
Unquestionably, Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay. Mine's the next Dune. So I'm looking forward to the next Dune. They can either do it
no,
well.
I cannot wait.
They can either do
Dune.
it well or they can not. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be done well. I'm really positive about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then let me get the locals chat over here. This was from C3 Metal. What's up? Good to see you. And that is saying even renters can't get insurance if you live near a fire zone. I'm imagining in Cali, right? So yeah, I'm not surprised that even renters can't get fire insurance, because they're not going to want to give anybody fire insurance. If they're not giving the underlying property fire insurance, they're not going to want to give the renter either. So
yeah,
that does make sense. Got a huge $50 from Helen Morgan.
50.
Thank you. Been following for a while. My first time catching you live. Keep up the realism. That's what we do on this channel. We try to keep it real. Look, there's so much counter narrative. There's so much BS. I feel like it's a constant mission to just debunk it. And even now lately that I've really been focusing on the Disney case and the Disney news, and that's why I've been working with these guys, these jokers. It's been so much that I could cover this pretty much in perpetuity, which is why I'm just staying on it, because there's so much news coming up that needs to be debunked in this area that I just end up covering it. And I'm so glad there's so many other real people on YouTube. There's so many other great lawyers. Shout out to my good friend over there in Korea, Legal Vices, Nick Ricada. He helped bump me over a 100K with the live shout out. But these guys are also working together to cover all these topics, and together we can come together to cover information for everybody who wants that. So for whoever wants that, whatever type of information, people are out there that are giving it to you, and they're being real, because the mainstream media and certainly the Disney media is not going to be giving that to you.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. I tell you what, I have a one question to ask for the chat, because Andrew, I have a suspicion that especially after some of your recent guest appearances on some of our good friends out there, especially Geeks and Gamers,
Yes.
Can I ask the chat, if you're here tonight and you understand this reference,
Oh no.
can I get a little $1.99?
Okay,
out
yeah.
there?
Can I get a
$1.99 out there in the chat for the Geeks and Gamers crew My boys from Jeremy's crew. I think y'all are out there. Let's see.
Mhm.
Let's see what we got here.
We'll see it in the chat. We'll see the chat. Oh,
Yeah.
look, there's a storm of 199s. Look at
There
that.
we go.
Look at that.
Look
I
at
appreciate Don. Appreciated and noted. You're a man of culture, Don. You're a true man of culture out there in Prague. I appreciate you. Yeah, a lot.
I
of
was
the BTC
jealous when
gamers
you went
crew-
on there. I'm like, I need to go back.
I've been hanging with them a lot lately. Like literally, I'll tell you a joke about the last time I was on the Geeks and Gamers. So
I gave
if you
Jeremy some shit for that. Just to be clear.
well, if you notice, I was wearing a T-shirt when I got on. That's because Jeremy messaged me in the morning, and I responded to him, and it was on something totally unrelated to streaming. And then Krista sent me a link, and I'm like, "Oh, Jeremy just wants to chat like about this thing we were talking about. It's totally business related. It's not related to that." And sometimes people just want to talk about business on StreamYard because it's easy. We all know how to use it. So instead of doing Zoom, they just send a StreamYard link. So I'm wearing a shirt, thinking, "Oh, I'm just talking to Jeremy, and we're just shooting the shit about business." And no, it's alive. And I'm like, well, fuck, now I'm in a T-shirt and I look like a scrub over here, waking up in the morning. But hey, it worked. It helped me get me there. And I think about at least 1,500 of those subs probably total came from Geeks and Gamers. So I appreciate all those in that community coming over here and joining and hanging out. 2012 Jameson says, lawyers are a-holes. Just saying. This is factually true. However, we can at least be entertaining a-holes. At least consider being entertaining a-holes. Hillis Mallory says, Valiant, didn't the levee fall during Katrina because they didn't have the ability to divert the water? Spotted frog concerns?
Hillis, the simple answer, my God, that is a 1 hour documentary right there.
Yeah, can you please give the TLDR version?
Yeah. The simple version is the Mr. Go, the system they built to divert water failed. Yes. Katrina, the hurricane itself, did not sink New Orleans. It was the failure of the U.S. government and the Army Corps of Engineers that did it. That was the issue. That's it.
Yep. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then C3 Metal over here again on Locals with a $10 tip says, you better have some stripping on your 100K celebration. That's for you to find out and probably for Locals exclusive. I'm just going to say the spicy stuff stays on Locals.
I am not going to be stripping on that sumbitch. So yeah. I'm just going to tell you now. And neither is Andrew, or at least I don't.
Speaking of stripping, no, I'm not. That's just an inside joke. That being said, speaking of stripping, before we get to the Disney news, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's all over my Locals are sending it and other folks. People are stripping down pride flags, which has been really interesting. In Canada, even in Ottawa, Muslim children took down, stomped on pride flags. Then you had Massachusetts middle school students tearing down pride decorations, chanting USA apparently at a school. This is, by the way, when they were being forced to wear rainbow colors to school. So they did that in reaction to being forced to do this stuff. There were also, I believe, there's another video I saw of students being forced to watch pride videos during class at a public school, and they booed that. And then, of course, there's a Muslim majority town, the only one in the United States, Hamtramck, which has now banned pride flags being thrown on public property. So there are folks that are, let's say, pushing back, and probably because of some of the agenda that corporations like Disney have been pushing recently, particularly regarding children. And when I say agenda, I talk about the fact that Iger is deeply inserting himself into politics. And this is the tweet from Pro, which he retweeted from the Laughing Place, which is Gavin Newsom with Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro talking about plans for Disneyland forward. Now, I don't know what they're planning to do that would be so radical in California.
Yeah.
I think anybody trying to start the conversation that they're going to suddenly build take Disney World to California, that's obviously not going to happen.
No.
That's obviously not something there. What it probably is they're trying to get some sort of tax subsidies or zoning exemptions to do an expansion there, or to build out a little bit
It's
to
a
develop certain
tax
area.
grab
Yeah.
for pronouns.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's what I was picking up off of this. This is more of a political. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if that's how that does that. That's how that does that. It was more of a we're gonna virtue signal here because Gavin Newsom has been on a crusade of saying, okay, California is better than Florida and Texas because we are LGBTQA plus friendly. And I don't know if you saw earlier, but I talked about it before you came on. There's this narrative of a mass exodus from Texas and Florida. What do you think about that, Valiant? Do you think people are leaving Florida and Texas in mass because they're being persecuted?
No, this is a Marxist lie. This is an American politics Marxist lie. It's not happening. We have seen the trend lines for the last 10 years, if not longer, from this point, from American census bureaus, from reality in all respects, that people are exiting blue states in mass numbers, be they New York, be they Washington State, be they Oregon, be they California, New York, whatever. They are leaving in droves because the people who actually make the money are waking up going, I don't want to pay this money anymore. Look, dude, I live here in Louisiana. Louisiana is, unfortunately, over the years, has devolved into a shithole. I mean, I'm not just talking about from everybody kills one another in New Orleans. Don't live in New Orleans because it's a
specifically
dumpster fire.
New Orleans, specifically New Orleans, right? You're talking about the state in a broader context.
In a broader text, from a fiscal perspective, it's a shithole. It's one of the worst places to start a business in the country because it is still run by people who have their hands out and want to be paid for your patronage. Frankly, this is one of the reasons that Walt Disney himself abandoned the state of Louisiana and moved on to Florida. Originally, he wanted to build Walt Disney World right here. He decided not to because too many Louisiana politicians said, well, pay me. He said no.
Yeah.
He moved on. That was it. The problem is at this point is that a lot of these states are driving off their highest earners. And they're trying to use social shaming as a metric to shame them into staying. It's not working anymore. They are leaving. So as far as I'm concerned, I hope and pray that places like California and New York continue to just go down the toilet, drive off their most valuable businesses to go elsewhere. Don't bring your politics with you. Like, don't move to Texas and say, well, California is such a shithole, but I'm going to move to Texas now and vote the same stupid way that I voted in California.
Unfortunately, the preliminary assessment on this, and Texans and people out there, I know in Florida, for example, I saw this where they bring it right there. They don't understand that those things created the problem in the majority of cases. They're just bringing it down. It's unfortunate.
Of immaturity and juvenile thinking.
Yes.
Right? These people the people who are doing this are adults, but they are adult children. They're overgrown adults. And they have not actually evolved with the mental capacity to function as adults and vote as adults. And that's the problem with the country now.
Yes, absolutely. It's a bunch of children running the show.
Yeah.
And it's emotionalism and, just I want this all the time. And, Disney is probably the most emblematic of a corporation that caters to those adults, right? Those adult children. That is, I believe they actually believe that's their target market, is those adult children, those people that are in that suspended childhood and they're 35, 40, 45, right? And they're still like we say, snorting that pixie dust and, living that disbelief that their, life of a barista that goes to Disney World, twice or three times a week, that is their source of happiness and value in the world. It's a very sad thing. Speaking of something that's not sad though, and people are not leaving, Marcus Squint is welcome to BLM, the base legal mindset, the
What's
highest
up, Marcus?
memberships here. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you a lot. And all the members of BLM out there. Sierra Tan joining the RPG earlier. Appreciate my RPG people as well. But BLM's the highest member, the most base. So appreciate you, Marcus. You have access to all the emojis, members-only videos, which there's going to be more, actually, of those. I'm recording one next week that will be, I think, entirely members-only. In fact, I may even run that one as a members-only stream, which may be interesting. So get prepared for that. And also, you have access to the Discord. So welcome. 2012 Jameson said, judges are not entertaining except for bad takes. Well, okay, I'm going to say something, and this is not to knock it. I'm just going to say there's a reason why I don't do more trial streaming. It is partly because I'm in Asia and it's hard, although you can do it. Legal Vices is proof of that. But it's because most cases, most trials are very boring. They are very boring. So the majority of cases are going to be boring. They're not going to be sexy. They're not going to be exciting. The topic is not going to be great. The judge is going to be boring. The lawyers are going to be boring or horrible. So that's going to be the majority of cases. It is a rare exception where you get a Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard type case where you have, exciting folks all around. Very rare. 2012 Jameson says prices of properties do not reflect exodus. Do you know why? Maybe it's because China and other countries, and as well as BlackRock and Vanguard, they're buying those up. So it's not necessarily reflecting the individual price just yet. Just yet. Marcus Squid for 10 said, congrats on 100K. Now I've got to get VR to 50K so we can have one heck of a crawfish and gumbo party in NOLA. And FEMA equal foolish expecting meaningful aid. Just saying. I agree with that 100%. Do not wait on FEMA. Look, he's in Louisiana. I used to live in Florida. I was ready for hurricanes regardless. I assume FEMA was never coming. And if they're going to come after the roof is ripped off on my house and they're going to hand me a blue tarp. That's about as much as I'm going to expect from FEMA or the federal government. So, I mean, we had generators, we had water, we had flashlights, batteries, everything we needed. We were ready to be hunkered down every single time a hurricane was coming through. We did not mess around. And if I thought it was risky, or let's say I was in an apartment and I thought it was not the best, I didn't trust it, I left. I got in a plane and I got the fuck out, came back after everything cleared up and it was confirmed power's back on, air conditioning's back on, I headed back on in. So always be safe out there. Never rely on the federal government. But VR, how far are you from 50K right now?
Well, I mean, fairly far. We just crossed 27 a couple days ago.
Oh, yo, that is year end. Year end. I'm setting Valiant's year end goal. Valiant Renegade will get it. We'll get there. By the end of the year, he will be at 50K. I'm calling it now.
I'm hoping
I'm
for
calling
that.
it now.
I'll put it this way: we started the year with just shy of 17.
17, and you're 10 up by now.
Yes.
I think you can do it. I think we can do this. I think
we could be further along. I mean, like, if WW Pro wasn't stealing all my extra subs.
Oh yeah, because that's totally a thing.
Yeah,
it's totally a thing that people don't subscribe to both channels. Yeah, that's totally a thing. You actually have limited amount of subscribers. You can just
totally limited.
Once.
It is a fixed pie because that's what all the Marxists keep telling me. Sorry.
Midnight Eye says, from the other 6 special districts that lost their status, how many applied for a new special district and how many of those got approved? Honestly, I will have to, you know what I will do, Midnight Eye? I will check on this and I will report back to you because I have not checked on this. This is a very good point. I guarantee you that if they did, they'd be granted. There's no reason. Most special districts, I did this for 8 years, are not controversial. They're doing very basic stuff like, yeah, we've got stormwater we want to process. We've got a mosquito control district. Literally, all they do is spray for mosquitoes because they're a particular problem in the swamp, in the swampier areas. There's districts that are very mundane and boring. You literally do not want to know about what they're doing because it is just pipes and pavement. It is, and not the fun type of pipe. This is, and also not the type that was being laid by the Little Mermaid actor. We'll get to that in a second. This is very boring stuff, very mundane stuff you don't want to know about. But I will check on that because I guarantee you if they asked, they probably got granted. Probably was not an issue. Now, maybe not all of them applied. Maybe some of them were defunct. Maybe some of them weren't being used actively. We will see. Because sometimes special districts will still exist on the books and they won't actually be doing anything anymore. That is possible. That is very possible. All right. So let me jump into the case updates. This is what I wanted to get to, and I know a lot of y'all are waiting for. So here's the case, and we're talking about state case and federal case. Let's start with the state case, the thing that the pixie dusters and the mainstream media ignores. That is the state case of the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District versus Walt Disney World Parks. So this is the Orange County Clerk. So this is live information, guys. Unlike the news, I go right to the original. We do it raw here on Legal Mindset. And this is the case number. It is case number, I'm not going to read it, 2023 CA 0118180. So you can look this up yourself if you want on the record search for myorangecountyclerk.com. You guys can always pull this up. Just search for the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. And you can see it's in front of Judge Margaret Schreiber. And the next thing we had a notice of a hearing. There was a hearing on the 14th. And when you go and you pop that up, and I already have that kind of saved here, you see what happened in this state case. Well, at this hearing, which was held ex parte, which means that they weren't physically present in front of the judge. They were actually by teleconference, audio, Zoom, and they appeared, the plaintiff's attorneys, which is the attorneys for the CFTOD, and the defendant's counsel, the counsel for Disney, and all they talked about, and I told people who were hyping this up, and there were some Disney blogs that were making this up to be a big thing, all this was to set a hearing time. So they set a hearing for July 14th. So that should actually be a real hearing that is going to be, held in front of the judge, probably on Disney's motion to dismiss. I expect that after that hearing, or at that hearing, there will be a ruling on that, and they will rule one way or another on that motion to dismiss on July 14th. And until then, there really is not going to be much action on the state case. This is going to be a slow, pondering thing. They also have the opportunity to submit what's called motions for pro hoc vice. So if you recall, all of Disney's lawyers, or most of Disney's lawyers, are out of state. California, New York, and DC. So they've got to be admitted by a Florida lawyer. Adam Hutsey is a Florida lawyer who is essentially the patsy who allows them to come in. He says these guys can practice law in Florida under my license. So if they screw up, it's on Adam Hutsey. So he's going to get all these Disney non-Florida lawyers into the Florida bar so they can lose a case in Florida and put that on their CV. But yeah, we'll have updates July 14th, obviously. And if there's any other filings or anything that's put on the record before then, your boy will bring that up right away. So just so you guys know, that's where the state case is at. Now, the federal case, which once again, federal court, is now before this guy. This is Alan Windsor. He is the new judge for the case. And there are already people complaining about Alan Windsor. So they're saying, oh, he ruled in favor of DeSantis for his incorrectly named law, right? The Parental Rights and Education Bill. Anytime I see anybody who calls it this name here, I know it's biased media. It's great because I'm like, oh, this is the litmus test, right? Business Insider put this up here. This is the litmus test. They're a biased form of media. Rebecca Harrington, I guarantee you, is a raging leftist feminist. I can put my money on that. But they're complaining that he has ruled in the favor of DeSantis in the past. They're complaining that he is a member of the Federalist Society, which is a conservative-leaning society. They're also saying that a bunch of leftist organizations did not like him. And worst of all, Valiant, guess which president nominated this judge? The worst sin of all. Which president? Which president would have done it? Which president would trigger?
Trump-Bama.
yeah, it's Trump. Yeah, it's Big Daddy Trump nominated this one. So obviously the leftists are reeing about it. They're absolutely mad. They used the nuclear option to push it through. Joe Manchin got on the page there. The Democrat got on the page to force that one through and confirm it 54-44. There, you're supposed to typically have that kind of super majority. Did not have that there. But that being said, got them pushed through. People were mad that Windsor was was pro-life, right? Was pro Second Amendment, was pro restriction of, or rather, pro clamping down on election integrity. We'll put it that way. I think that's safe for YouTube. So they were mad about that. However, I'm very happy this judge is on the case because it seems like we'll actually get a fair federal case. And by the way, this article noted that this judge, Alan Windsor, has in the past dismissed trials for lack of standing and lack of damages. So because of that, I think the leftists are already predicting that the judge is going to knock out this case for lack of standing and damages, which is something that I've been talking about on this channel for a long time. And how they're going to lose in the federal case is they do not have actual damages. They've not been harmed. There's nothing they've tried to build through those development credits that has been denied. And they have a district. So how are they harmed? Reedy Creek is not a personal entitlement. The law under the First Amendment doesn't work that way. So I think this judge will realize that. I hope this judge will realize that, and we'll get this federal case dismissed, and Disney's narrative will completely be blown out of the water. We'll see. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a couple months, but it's gonna. I think it can happen. So that's the update on the case there today. And let me jump in and grab these supers over here. Just Peachy says, I guess Iger forgot that Gavin Newsom sent Disney nearly into financial ruin by keeping Disneyland closed through summer 2021 versus Disney World, which DeSantis approved to open in July of 2020. Yeah, I think that was big. I don't know. Have they ever run the numbers on that, Valiant, of what that cost Disney World in terms of keeping Disneyland closed for a full year?
God, it was a lot. It was a whole, billions. Billions.
It's B with a B.
Billions. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
In probably that's in net terms, billions.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely something that hurt them big time. But I think that's the craziness and insanity of the left, is they will continue to work with those folks that are not in their best financial interest. That's what drove me into, I guess he's too spicy. So we'll just go in mindset mode until he figures out his heating issues. But yeah, that's the insanity of the left. And the insanity of their thinking is they can just discount finances and just look past that. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier for 2. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And cheers, GXP. Sending the very cute super sticker. So appreciate you there as well. Yeah, I think we're caught up on the super chats. Awesome. Yeah, heated camera. Again, it happens, guys. It happens. Sometimes the cameras, listen, when you're as beautiful as Valiant with a lovely, lovely hat, the camera, it doesn't know what to do with you. It gets too bothered. And let's check in on locals. I got another tip over there, so let's just push this one up real quick. Thank you to Ben SC on locals saying, congrats on the 100K. Appreciate you, Ben SC, and all those locals OGs, the locals DGens that have been around for a while. By the way, I do plan on the next stream. I probably will try to simulcast with Rumble. I'm getting set up here. I moved, for those who don't know, I moved from Korea to Thailand. So now I'll be in Thailand as my home base, be kind of running out of here. So that being said, getting some things set up takes a while, and getting my Rumble set up takes a while. But I will be streaming when I stream on Rumble as well. DK with a 1999 gold super sticker. Appreciate that very much. Right now, oh, sorry. So Ron asks, what time is it for you? It is 9:34 a.m. It's 9:34 a.m. for me over here in Bangkok. Although I do love, somebody asked Phuket. I do love Phuket. Phuket's a great area. I'll spend a good amount of time down there and around. And one of the big things I'm going to be looking forward to doing is traveling. There's a lot of countries and places I'm going to be visiting: Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia. Be all around, all around. Am I going to keep a place? My plan, talk, is to stay there for a couple months out of the year. So 1 or 2 months out of the year, I'll be in Japan, Korea, because I really love those countries, and I want to hang out with my homeboy, Legal Vices. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to my folks in wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Texas, wherever you are. Even if you're in California, I still appreciate you. I still appreciate you. All right, so let's jump into the next piece of work I wanted to get into here, which is that Disney is done something a little spicy. They've done something that I was kind of surprised happened, but also not so surprised given the fact that they've been employing some questionable people. If you guys caught my video on Grady Judd, they've had a little problem with employment and doing background checks, checking up on people, and checking into who they are. Grady Judd, the sheriff of Polk County, has been arresting several Disney employees who have, let's say, had a problem with children stuff and children types of crimes. What now turns out that they're not just hiring criminals at Disney. Oh, no. They're hiring porn stars. So here we go. We have Disney accidentally casting a porn star in The Little Mermaid. So apparently this homeboy here, and this is an Instagram from Jason Soul 1, he was cast as a merman. A merman. Apparently, he was in adult films under the alias Dante Ferrari and his naughty films. He was paid £1,000, which is about 1,680. This is written in Singapore, so Singapore dollars. So let's just say £1,000. And they're available to watch online. The casting bosses decided to hire a number of really sexy male models to play mermen. How well did that work out for you? You know what I love? What I really, truly love is how this whole model of we have to get away from sexy women, right? We can't cast sexy women, but we're going to cast sexy men. Because who are you marketing toward? Who do you think is going to come for that? Is it the adult children? Is it those women that are rocking the mini ears at age 45 that are alone with their cats coming for the hot mermen? I mean, I don't know if that's the best move there. It's an insane double standard. They had no idea about Stefano's racy videos. And given The Little Mermaid is a big summer blockbuster for kids, it's a bit embarrassing for Disney. Now, if Valiant ever recovers, we'll debate the big summer blockbuster element. But a little embarrassing? I think it's a very, very embarrassing moment. And of course, he took pictures with people behind the scenes. So he's pictured with all these other folks in these movies. He's also pictured giving some folks the not so floppy fin. So yeah, obviously this is another case of Disney failing to vet once again. Yeah, a blockbuster, I think a very loose term for flop. The future is male. Disney, probably not gay. Thank you. Appreciate you, not gay, and appreciate you coming on and recording with me. Going to try to chop that episode up and get it out in pieces in the near future. Yeah, failure to vet is a big problem over there at Disney. They're doing it time and time again. This is a good question. Why can't we go back to having sexy men and women like in the 80s and 90s? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the kind of the He-Mans or anything else like that. That's fine, right? But just do both. Autistic Tiger says, Tiger, not Iger, or should we say Tiger? Very good. Appreciated with your support over there in Celebration. Celebration, Florida. Okay, well, the last thing I want to get to here, and I this is one thing I want to chop into in terms of Disney news and just something that I think ties in with everything else, is I've been covering stuff from a legal perspective. But as we've worked together, and as I've worked together with WW Pro, Valiant, Mexican Iron Man, those guys, Jonas J. Campbell, we've been talking about how the film side, the business side, and the legal side are all tied together. So when they're having legal battles, when they're having acquisitions, which have huge legal problems between Comcast and Hulu, giant fighting over that acquisition, over the valuation there, potential issues with a Star Wars purchase, massive legal issues. If you haven't checked out that video, yeah, go check that out. So you've got those legal issues that are costing them money. They're having to make these purchases, and now they're saying they're going to push back pretty much everything major until 2023. So word on the street here is they're shifting the dates back for the Star Wars movies, for Deadpool 3, for all of Marvel, Avatar, all back, pushing it back in time. This is 100% a money-saving move. And it goes hand in hand with what is going on with the Comcast purchase, with the lawsuits, with the financial issues. Absolutely hand in hand. Welcome back, Valiant. Good timing. Missed the... you're muted, though, brother.
No, I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good. I said you missed the Little Mermaid porn star bit. But now we're talking about moving the entire slate back.
Yeah, sorry, dad stuff.
To me, no, all good. This is absolutely 100% tied to their financial woes.
Oh yeah, I've got a video
out
tomorrow on this
Sure.
exact thing. Yes, I mean the basic premise of the video tomorrow is the writer strike saved Disney's ass. And that's what it is.
In a financial sense? Or okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's because
it really does.
And being able to push back content, because remember that they said 5.5 million in savings, and so 2.5 was supposed to be non-content. So that's the pulling out of like Nona, that's the closing the Galactic Star Cruiser, that's firing people. That's part of the 2.5 billion in savings. But in addition, they've had to push back their content. Speaking of content, the man, the myth, the legend, who brings the content with him, Tom Connors of Midnight Eds.
Oh, well, Tom. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
How's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing
good.
We're doing great. Appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by.
Glad to hear
I'm become more of a rare bird doing live streams, so I always like to have a little bit of good company, quality company.
Oh, well, thank you.
So only the best, Tom.
Simply the best. Yeah.
So what do you think, Tom? What do you think about Disney pushing back their entire slate of movies? Do you have thoughts on that?
It's not surprising, really. I mean,
Sure.
We've been following anybody who's followed them at all. Clearly, this is not a surprise with the writers' strike. First and foremost, everybody's gonna. Let me preface by saying this: we're gonna start hearing it well throughout the weeks to come that all the studios are gonna be putting a lot of their stuff either. It's going to get put on the back burner. It's going to get delayed. Might get canceled. You know, the only things I think that are not really in any shape or form of getting hurt right now are like maybe Superman Legacy, because that's already written. Deadpool 3 sounds like it's farther along than we thought. Some animated features might be okay because those are kind of pre-written as it is, like pre-storyboarded, all that business. Voices done way in advance and all that shit. So. You know, I'm not surprised, but also I'm curious how many of these movies won't get canceled. That's my bigger question.
That's the big one, because shifting is one thing. Like shifting, for example, Deadpool from moving it from November 8th and moving it up to May.
That one
May
surprised
3rd.
me because that tells me that they're almost done with it then. Because this is we're just about a year out, so that means they got to be done with principals photography pretty much.
Right. So they're trying to move that one up, maybe because they think that's gonna actually make money. I don't know. How did Deadpool 2 do financially? I didn't actually track that in terms of
decently
money.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, Deadpool 2 did fine. Deadpool 3 has potential to beat that one because it has Hugh Jackman. Right.
Ooh, yeah, that'll do it.
And that's the only reason I'm not worried so much about this movie, because Andre made a good point this morning on the show. Like, usually when a movie like this gets pushed up, because let's be real, why is this getting pushed up? Because Disney has nothing else. The Marvels is their last completed Marvel film. They're still shooting the Thunderbolts. Brave New World might be done, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I think that one also that's the whole point, is that one got delayed, so they had to move. I think that's the one that Deadpool's taking its spot. Or was it the Thunderbolts? One of the two. Either way, those two movies are kind of on the right now. They're going to happen, but anything after that, I'm questioning right now. Because I've been hearing that the problem with the Fantastic Four has to do with the cast is going to cost about $80 million right now.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Because they've got Kylo Ben playing Mr. Fantastic, and I'm sure you've heard some of the other names that have been thrown around for possibilities. That price is going up pretty quick for just the 4 mains, or 5 mains if they have a Doctor Doom too, I'm sure. Because honestly, I would think that what's-his-face, Adam Driver would be better as Doctor Doom. Honestly, than he would be as Reed Richards. But that aside, I'd be surprised how long that got already pushed back. I think another year almost, or quite a bit back. Blade, I'll be surprised if it ever happens. Because
sure.
At this point, it's been pushed back 20 times, and Blade to me is it's a no-brainer. It's like, how do you not get this right? Blade is like Friday the 13th franchise of Marvel. All you got to do is have a black dude running around in leather killing vampires. How hard is that?
And paying his taxes, right? And paying his taxes. Sorry, Wesley.
But no, as far as
done, man.
The rest of it goes, Avatar. I mean, I'm starting to take bets if James Cameron's going to make it to Avatar 5. My guess is he'll die while they make it because it'll be so far out. Even Zoe Saldana was joking that she'll be in her 50s by the time they finish these movies.
Yes.
I mean, most of the kids who saw Avatar in theaters will have Social Security by the time the last movie's out.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Movies that I don't believe will happen, but I mean, people are debating which ones they are. I don't know if one of them is the Waititi movie, one's the Filoni movie, one's the Ray movie. Who knows? At the end of the day, but I'll also be surprised if either one of those comes to fruition outside of maybe the Filoni movie. That's my take on a lot of these delays. But like Andre was saying, he'd be more worried about Deadpool 3 because it's being moved up, which means it's going to get more of attention from the studio. But I pointed out to him, I think it's okay. I think it's safe because this means it's probably mostly done. Bob came in well after that film started filming. Bob was one of the reasons why the movie never happened prior to this, because he was hung up on making it PG-13. So I think this movie is safe because you got
Wait,
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh
Is
Jackman.
it going to be a PG-13
No.
movie?
As far as we know, it's going to be R-rated.
Okay,
Ryan
great.
Ryan Reynolds said he refused to do it unless it was going to be R-rated. So I'm assuming it's going to be R-rated.
Good.
And with those two kind of standing guard on this movie, that's the only reason I think Deadpool 3 has potential. Outside of that, Disney's screwed. They have nothing else.
Right. So that's their that more to me stinks of a desperation move, like you said, because they know this one is going to make some money, and some money is better than a loss. I used to call the other Disney movies the failures that have been popping out, the Little Mermaids and the the Mulans and all those. I used to call them loss leaders, but to be a loss leader, you actually have to drive interest, in a thing. It's just a loss. It's just these movies are just financial losses for Disney, and certainly they're not bringing the money they need to purchase Hulu. So like those type of bucks. So yeah, from a practical standpoint, full fail there. Let's see. Let me get a couple of these super chats here. Uncivil Law for $20 says, "Congrats on a well-earned 100K. Well deserved and overdue. Keep crushing it." I will. Thank you so much, brother, and appreciate all the other good creators out there.
What's up?
Appreciate all the other good creators out there creating good content, and appreciate you, my friends. You've been a good friend of the show. Ted Park says it's probably less of an impact for questionable employees to be employed by studios rather than the parks. I don't know, because here's the thing. They both have an impact. You just don't see the question. If you don't see, okay, let me put it this way. The bibbity bobbity boutique guy, if he was sitting behind a desk
the dude
in a
with
dress,
the mustache,
the dude with the mustache in a dress talking to children, if he was behind a desk talking to children on the phone, it wouldn't have gone viral. But it's still a problem. It has an impact. In fact, I think
I feel like I missed
he
this
probably belonged on the phone talking to other men in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, did you miss this one, Tom?
Is he the guy that hired the Little Mermaid actor?
No. What I guess they're saying is
Close.
Yeah. We'll read.
Nah, it was a joke,
in a
but
second.
yeah.
But yeah.
No, I know.
But the guy in a dress at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, kind of went viral.
Oh yes, I saw that clip, or at least part of it.
I'll just pull up the image real quick for those that kind of need a refresher on this. God help me. This dude, my name is Nick. I'm one of the fairy godmothers. Yeah.
The kind of guy you should probably check his fridge and under his house.
Yeah. And his,
Sorry,
what's
did
on
I say that out loud?
What's on his computer is more bothersome for me.
Yeah, what's on his computer?
Yeah. So yeah, keeping those guys behind the house is probably safer for them from a PR standpoint. But that being said, they've got it. Trust me, I've seen them in Orlando. I talked to a lot of folks who work there, and let's just say a lot of the ladies of Orlando work for Disney or Disney affiliated companies. And when they talked about their guys working at Disney, yeah, the guys working at Disney often were the type that would wear a dress. So that being said, those guys are there back of the house. They're making different decisions, and they're the type of people that rioted under Chapek. Right? They're the type of people that when Chapek made the cuts or, failed to stand up to DeSantis enough, they protested. And they, took these community action groups, these Marxist action groups, and they, started rioting inside of Disney. So that's something that I think is a problem, whether it's inside or whether it's front-facing. Ray Robertson, in honor of my Cajun pawpaw, I'm sending a Justin Wilson double-barreled salute to reaching 100K subscribers. Appreciate y'all so much. By the way,
send out that Cajun coon-ass love.
I appreciate it to all my coons and asses out there. By the way, do you see the Disney Red Label content bring back adult subscribers? Wait, what? What is Disney Red Label content? I'm not even sure what that is. Do you guys know what Disney Red Label content is?
Label content bring back.
Is that spicy stuff? I've not heard of that.
I'm Tom?
Red Label. I never heard that before. Red Label.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard that before at all. The only red label I
Ray,
know
if there's a specific reference,
is
help
Johnny
us out.
Walker. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the red label I know is Johnny Walker. Now I will say, if by red label content you mean the content warnings, right? Because now there's those content advisories for racism in classic Disney films. If that's what you're talking about, that could be a thing. Speaking of racism, I think I ordered enough chalupas and margaritas. I think I ordered enough chalupas and margaritas. He's here.
God.
He's here.
I love chalupas, but I love Mikey
I'm leaving
more.
now.
Yeah.
Why?
Hey, we've gotten.
You're
through
not
most
Culture
of the,
Casino. You can't leave.
We've gotten through most of the super chats. You'd be proud. Mexican Iron
I
Man.
can't
And he
because-
shows up with money.
Culture streams 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When the fuck is he not on YouTube? Jesus.
Whenever Mike's on a stream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, listen. I understand whenever I hit you guys up, which I usually do only 24 hours in advance. You guys have had your commitments, so I appreciate you making it and making time to hang out over here.
No, but all
And
joking
thank you
aside, I really do have to get to bed. I've got more
Okay,
stuff to do
you go
tomorrow.
to bed. Go to bed. I'll substitute you for a Mexican. The efficiency
No,
will be improved by 50%.
It was perfect because
it'll be great.
there is no better person that I could possibly imagine that could take my place than Mike.
Oh, he's just
No,
buttering me up.
seriously.
He's just buttering me up because I beat the shit out of him on Sunday reading super chats.
He did.
Andrew,
He did.
Andrew, Valiant,
to
tell
learn.
Andrew, did I not lay down the tortilla warmer
did.
of justice?
And this is why
Yes.
I can't function on Sundays without Mike because it's like herding a bunch of fucking cats on Sunday. It's like, dude, I want to blow through super chats. Everybody's gonna make comments. Shut the fuck up and let me read super chats. You know, it's like, no, that's the thing. No,
I get to play back. Anyway, good night, Valiant. Peace
got-
out.
I do have to go. 2 days I've been out of the office this week. Kid with college orientation. I'm a tired dad, but this has been great. And we have to get together soon. Andrew, let me know when you
Yes,
can
we will.
come
We will. So I'm gonna.
I know
So
you're
my
moving.
plan is
So-
with I'm settled now. My plan is within the next week to do my 100K ish celebration. So I'll let you guys know what I'm gonna try to do. My format. Well, I'll try to do it for a longer period of time and have people come in and just we talk one-on-one a little bit or smaller group and then kind of cycle through folks because you can only get so many folks in. So that's what I'll try to do for streaming on YouTube. And there'll be other things as well on local.
Sounds
But I'll
good.
get you on for that. Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by for the live, and we'll talk soon.
Take care, man. Love y'all.
Peace.
Hit the like button.
They got it. But yeah, welcome, Mike. Appreciate you
And
joining in
despite
here.
popular opinion, or despite popular rumors that are going around, that was not me in that casting of Disney and The Little Mermaid. That was not my body.
Oh, so okay, hold on. So this was not you. This was not you.
Unbelievably, that is not my body.
Listen,
I know it's shocking.
It's hard to believe because listen, when I heard his name, his porn name was Dante Ferrari. I'm like, that is totally a Mike name.
No,
That's
I
totally
drive
Mike name.
no Lamborghini only.
That sounds like his real name. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It does
Dante
kind of look
Ferrari.
like you too, Mike.
Yeah, Mike has been doxxed.
But I can't picture Mike as a pole smoker.
Yeah, what
No.
was that? Oh wait,
No.
I'm sorry. Was he in male adult films? Did you
Yes.
confirm that?
Wait, he's a gay porn star?
He was gay porn star.
That's
Yes.
definitely not me. That's definitely not me.
Oh, Mike.
No,
Mike.
no.
Which is why
No.
I say they hired him on accident.
No, it wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Hashtag believe all Mexicans.
Yep. Okay. Wow. The first results pull up on themansurfer.com. Yeah, not surprised there. Not surprised. Oh, Macho
Wow.
Tube. Interesting. Yes,
Isn't
that's
that
where it comes up.
special?
Wow. Well, guys, it's Pride Month. This is very appropriate for Pride Month. Very appropriate. All they wanted to do was hire some sexy male mermaids. That's all they.
Why
that's
are
all they
only
wanted.
the males allowed to be sexy? I don't get it.
That's the
that's
problem.
a legit fucking question.
Yeah, I think we need a discrimination lawsuit. I think we need to discriminate.
Well, you know what it is that you get all these Karens that are delusional and all these others that are in these companies. And can I just say can I be blunt? I know it's not a Monday.
Let's
night.
do it.
I know it's not a Simcast here, but let's be blunt. Let's be blunt. It's Tom, you stop that right now. Tom,
not you, the mermaid guy.
Oh, the mermaid guy. Here's a newsflash, Andrew. You know who's bitching about sexy women? Is all the women that aren't able to get laid.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's the.
We have dubbed the attractophobia.
Right, I mean that's what it is, right, Andrew?
The most hideous. Yeah, beautiful women don't have a problem with other beautiful women. Women who are secure don't have a problem with that.
Nope.
In fact, a lot of the ladies we stream with, they have zero issue with that. Talking to the ladies that come into our chats that are fellow content creators, they don't have any problem with beautiful women. It's only the insecure undesirables that have a problem with this. But they read so loud. They're on Twitter. They're in social media that they influence this. And also, I will say this too. I said this a little bit earlier with Valiant, but I think that Disney, I think they're trying to market to this certain type of Disney adult, right? And there's a Disney adult stereotype, which I think is very accurate, of a millennial, let's say a millennial female who is single, who goes to the parks chronically, who goes to the parks as much as she can, spends all of her money on that. She's got the mini ears, and she is in like this delusional world with like probably a couple cats and bottles of Disney approved wine.
A box of wine, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is the target market they think they are marketing to by putting this stuff in there. Yep. So I think they think these people are going to come and buy, but I don't think they actually buy that much. I don't think they actually have that money. I think the job as a barista, isn't doing too well for them.
And they don't have any guys buying it for them either, being all chivalrous and shit, taking care of the bills. They don't have any sugar daddies or anything.
Nope. I mean, sugar daddies want actual sugar, and there's none to be had. Only salt and vinegar to be had.
Right.
And
Mike and I are excellent sugar daddies, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
What did you say?
You and I are excellent sugar daddies. I just want to put that out there.
In the case of Mike, it's agave daddy, but yes.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, agave.
Is that English?
I like that.
It's a Mexican sweetener.
Yeah.
Also
yeah.
I did a thing.
I get it. I get it now. Since you explained the joke to me, I get it.
Garadian said, how the F are they going to get $9 billion or whatever the amount of free floating cash they have at all? Layoffs ain't going to cut it. Mike, now, okay, we'll say, actually, it's a good segue. I'll use this to segue. This is something that Valiant should learn. Let's pivot. Star Wars sale. Mike, you said something on my locals, and I want you to just repeat it. I know you said it there, but you don't think that Disney is going to sell Star Wars. No. You think they're going to you think they're going to try to find that money elsewhere through cuts in content. Obviously, they've done some non-content cuts and then borrowing the rest.
Yeah. Let me tell you this.
Okay.
Well, let's go back to your video earlier, which I didn't really talk about when I made my comment on your locals, but
yeah, my Disney
if
video.
Star Wars is announced as a sale, that is going to have a huge detrimental impact on the stock price, because that's going to be reflective to the outside world that they're admitting failure, things suck. The only way that that's a win, if it's even possible to be done, is if the situation where like they're going to make money on it and somehow make it happen. But I'm going to go with what Tom Connor said earlier in Midnight's Edge in the show earlier, in Midnight's Edge in the morning, which is that to pull the DNA of Star Wars out is analogous to pulling, like, I think, Tom, what did you say? A tumor within a tumor. And so,
yeah, people have been quoting me.
Like tumorception?
Yeah, well, because here, let me just finish this thought and then turn it over to you, Tom.
Sure.
But here's the thing: is that
you're fine. Keep going.
While I don't doubt that they may have gotten, maybe they got an offer, maybe someone wants to actually buy this piece of crap. Who knows? Maybe they do want to buy it. And some people
we'll talk about who in a second, but let's
all right.
Let's
So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So I just think that to extract it from Disney is going to be. I just think the public announcement is just such a dumb move for them to do, given what's going to happen to the stock price. It's just too high visible property. I think they will do, and Bob's ego is, should they sell some shit? Absolutely. They absolutely should start value. If I were Bob Iger, I'd say let's value every business unit and let's figure out which of these things we can sell. And at the same time, let's cut. And then I'd say to Comcast and Hulu, they're already in arbitration. They've been in arbitration. Fuck, they've been in arbitration now, what, 3.5 weeks now? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
And I would just push that shit back. Interest rates today were announced that they were holding, and they're not going up. They're holding. Now, will they go down? Will they go up? I don't know. They're higher than they've been in ages. So if I were Bob in his ego, I would not sell anything. Cut. Sell stuff that isn't like high visibility. Push off the Hulu. Hopefully borrow some money at interest rates that aren't out of control, and pray to God that the September 30th fiscal year ends with decent financials that I can actually pay out a dividend, even if it's only a fucking penny. Just pay out something, a penny,
per
10
stock,
cents.
Yeah.
Just get any dividend out there because nothing's been put out since November, December 2019, I think. And I would just do that dividend. The stock will go up. They'll be hopeful. Push back the Hulu thing and just delay that escrow transaction. It's like real estate. If you don't have the money to close, get an extension on that close.
Yes.
Push that fucker out until you get your financing in place, and pray to God you can make it.
You're right, and that's the thing. It's just borrow more. I mean, the solution is borrow more, kick the can down the road. I mean, at a large corporate scale and a national scale, that's the strategy. I mean, it seems to be the move, right? Let's just delay this pain of having to come up with the cash
I don't
right
put
now.
it past Bob to come up with a creative way to get some cash out of somebody. Now I don't know if it's going to be Apple.
How is he going to do that? He's putting Mickey Mouse on the streets. Like what? Like where are they getting this?
Never underestimate the weatherman's ability to act like that hoe that just needs one more purse for Friday. Baby, it's not for me. It's for you, so that I look good with the dress.
One more Balenciaga. It's really going to get them there. One more is going to get them there.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, God, Iger.
Come on, you know this motherfucker. You've been around Florida forever.
It's true. And we don't know, to be clear, and I don't think any of us know what his deal with Apple is. I don't think any of us have any clue about that.
No, I think flies to Cupertino, talks to the board, schmoozes on stage. Did you hear who he was with, I think today or yesterday?
Yeah, I just showed it.
Did you show it?
The tweet, yeah. I'll show it again. I think Pro had it up, so let me pull it up here in a second.
He's schmoozing his ass off, this guy. You think Bob wanted to be on the Apple stage? That is precursor for he's talking to them about something so that when it's announced, they're going to one of the big things that people in power do that not a lot of us like average folk realize often enough is that they build stories and they create a future that by the time we get there, the announcement they make is the past that they created in the present we're now in.
Right. They invented the future. So it looks like they're predicting stuff. It looks like they're reading stuff. So they're talking,
so you saw this.
How are we going to come together to spin this narrative? Because this is why I cover these stuff with you guys, because culture is united with politics. It is united with the law, unfortunately, now, because we're having lawsuits coming out of this. So this is kind of the melting pot of politics and culture in all the worst ways.
Now,
and like I said, Mexican Iron Man, I talked about this with Valiant, but what it looks like they're doing, what they're probably doing here is they're just probably doing some basic expansions to Disneyland, and they want some tax credits. So they're saying, look, we'll do some woke virtual signaling, and we'll do some pink washing over here, and we're going to trade our voice on LGBTQ issues, backing you up, Gavin. We're going to trade that for you giving us subsidies.
Yep.
So, I mean, that to me seems, I don't think it's going to be anything radical or super different for Disneyland, California.
I wonder if Bob has sent a thank you letter to Armand DeSantis for keeping his company afloat.
I don't know. Maybe he was pretty thankful enough to send those people in Nazi outfits out in front of Disney, so his local leftist socialist Democrat friend could take a photo of them. I don't know if you saw that.
Yep. Hashtag fake news. Dang it, Bob.
100% fake news. Yep. All Bob. It's all Bob. So let's go back to Star Wars, though, because I want I want to hear what you guys think about the purchase, because I haven't had a chance to talk to people about this. I've been moving the last week, so I've been in a little bit. So excuse me, I'm a little bit out of it. Tom, Star Wars sale. Do you think it's happening or not?
No,
No, just a hard no. Okay.
No, I mean there would have to be. First of all, somebody would have to come up with like a company or whoever would have to come up with the amount of money that would make it worth it for Disney. And then going back to the whole tumor within a tumor thing, like that's just it. You have so many deals that are attached with Disney, and this is where WDW Pro was talking about it too, where, you know, there's just so many license deals already. You'd be buying it from Disney, but they would probably license it to themselves before the sale, just so you're stuck in this deal with it. Like it's all kind of weirdness going on in there that I don't even, like I said, Pro can explain it better than I can on that part. But the other side of it is it just, unless somebody would pay them like $5 billion for it, why would Disney sell it? And I know people have used like the Power Rangers for precedence and stuff like that, but they also didn't put the amount of money into the Power Rangers they did into Star Wars. And Power Rangers is not nearly as popular of a franchise as Star Wars. Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar are the three main things that Disney has right now that are worth a crap. Those three things are even more valuable than their own animation studio.
Yeah, just as intellectual property, just because the intellectual property itself has a value.
Right,
that's the thing.
Then people are talking about, well, they could sell, ILM or something else that could be carved out of Lucasfilm. That's true, but at the end of the day, ILM and Skywalker Sound and all those type of businesses are the only parts of Lucasfilm that are turning any kind of profit. I was going
to say the valuation on that would be interesting, because they're the ones that are turning the profit, but also you're just selling the component without the IP, so you're not going to get those big billions that you wanted for the.
And they just devalued the hell out of Willow. They're about to devalue Indiana Jones even more. Star Wars has been cut in half as far as its value, at least. So why would Disney sell it for like $1.5 billion? That's pretty much what it's worth at this point.
Sub George Lucas numbers, like, for sure.
And George Lucas does not have the money to be buying it. No.
So
he has money.
So let me put it out, like, in terms of the rumor, right? Because like who contacted them? So presuming somebody contacted them, are you guys with? Because I think I saw this tweet. I know Pro can't make it, so I'll try to just show his tweet here. Are you with the confirmation that George Lucas was not the person that made the offer, like that George Lucas?
I highly doubt it. He got rid of it for a reason. He's old. He's got other things going on. He's married now. He's got children of his own. He had adopted children for years. I've heard his health isn't even the greatest at this point through various channels.
So I'm more blunt. He doesn't have the money to buy this thing back.
He has money, but not the kind of money. Exactly, not that kind of money on.
Did he go and spend it all, like, or did he?
No, he put it in charitable remainder. It's a family trust. It's a charitable remainder trust. Some of it was donated, and then let's keep in mind. Here's the I explained this. I got in a fight someone comes at me in the live stream. I go right back at him. This was last week. I mean,
especially to talk about numbers.
He had something that was worth arguably 400, 800 million, and then sold it for $4 billion. You know what the capital gains tax on that bitch was?
Well, it was worth a little bit more than that.
And now he's going to use after-tax dollars to go back and buy something again? No.
Well, that's the problem you have first and foremost, is this thing was overvalued from the start.
I'm laughing because sorry, Tom. I'm laughing because that's the first time I've heard this stream. Do you know what the capital gains tax is on that bitch? Just like I like words.
Only accountants talk like that.
Only accountants talk like that. That's how you know he's legit. I'm like, only an accountant would say that. Sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
And only a Mexican accountant would say, "Bitch, do you know what the capital gains taxes is on that motherfucker?"
See, that's the funny thing is that Clint Howard told me that he wanted the 4.05 specifically because of the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he told me. Like, because in the book, Bob Iger. Okay, so this actually goes along with what I was going to say anyway. The initial value for the company, that when they came back, when everybody did their due diligence on the company, They said, look, George, it's only worth like, what was it, 2.5 or closer to 3, I think, Mike? What was it originally?
Say that again. I'm sorry, what?
I think it was like 2.5, I think they valued it at, or somewhere closer to 3 billion.
Yeah, and then they overpaid at 4.
Well, and the thing was, is George came back, no. I want the Pixar deal.
Yeah.
And he wanted, and so they said,
Marvel.
well, we'll give you 4 billion. And I think that was the same amount they paid for Marvel, close to it. Actually, I think they paid more for Marvel, but it doesn't matter. Point being, and he's like, and he made a big stink about the 0.05, and I guess the 0.05 was so he could pay his taxes on it. It's what Clint Howard said. That's why he was so hung up on the 0.05, because that way he'd have an even amount. And then, but like Mike said, after it was bought, he put a big chunk of it into a trust for his kids. He gave I think he gave almost half of it away just to charity. Remember right. So, but that was the whole point, is he wanted it worth that value. And Bob went back to him and said, look, we can't crunch the numbers enough to make it worth that much. But if you get everybody signed up, you get some sequels in order, you get somebody set up like to run the company, i.e. Kathleen Kennedy, then maybe, just maybe, we can say it's worth something, especially if you get like another Indiana Jones movie in the running or something like that, a Willow project maybe, which they did. They did all those things. George went out and signed up Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, got Harrison Ford to sign on, and his deal was, I get to do another Indiana Jones film, and he said, great, because they want one anyway. So that all happened to work out. Willow, the same thing. Just about everybody involved there was willing to come back, Val Kilmer being the only exception because of his health. So that was another thing, that things were rolling along, and they're like, okay, so we got everything in place here, and that's where they said, okay, it's worth 4.05 billion. Now it's not even worth half that, if that.
Right. If that.
That's the bigger problem you have now. So it would be a major, like, what kind of a kick to the teeth would the stock take, Mike, if they were to sell Lucasfilm right now, lock, stock, and barrel, for $2 billion?
10 to 30%, in my opinion. Although I'm not a financial person.
No, that's not financial advice. It's just
but just an estimate,
guess.
An estimated
educated guess.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you. I mean, just in the
hold
chat,
on. Before that, though, before you do any of that, 2012, James asked me to speak on force majeure, which is acts of God, and it took an act of God to finish recording so fast and come over here to join me, and we are joined by WW Pro. Welcome.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. I think I did say his name 3 times.
Hey-o.
Yes.
It's like Beetlejuice, but congratulations on 100,000. What a milestone. So happy, so pleased for you, and just the beginning of many more milestones to come. Congratulations.
Appreciate that, and I say a big thanks to, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Big thanks to you guys, because you guys were a big part of it, helping me cover these issues and kind of tag teaming this. It's really been this content of me going and doing these deep dives on Disney that's gotten me there. I wouldn't have done it without you guys' help on that. And also, when I want to bounce an idea off of somebody, like, I'll send it. If it's financial, I can go off of Mike. If it's, if it's about some inside industry rumors, I can bounce it off of Pro. And if I just want to have fun, I can bounce it off of Tom. I mean, that's just,
I
I'm
really,
talking
a $5
mermaid
tip
strippers.
to Iger.
That's Tom.
I know a
Tom's
thing or two about cocaine and whores, okay? No. Like I said, I do my thing, but Pro, now that you're here, you can explain better why my quote that people keep tagging me in on Facebook
tumor
and
within
stuff.
A tumor.
The tumor within a tumor quote that I made. The basically removing Star Wars right now from Lucasfilm, or Disney as a whole. Lucasfilm as Disney, both of them are the same kind of thing. Removing a tumor from a tumor. And I said, you explain it so much better as to why they're so tied to Disney still. And it would be
I base who did the best on how many people remember it. So the fact that people are remembering what you said is an indicator to me that you did the best on it. But
you did the explanation as to why. Like, that's the thing.
Right. So here's how it works. When people think of Star Wars and the idea that you would sell Star Wars, it sounds like a single entity, but it's not. It's like an octopus with 100 tentacles all stretched out throughout the company. And so let's do 2 examples that are very easy. If you say, I'm going to sell Star Wars, I don't know what it means, because Lucasfilm doesn't own Galaxy's Edge, which are the Star Wars lands. Those are owned by Disney Parks, and specifically by the parks which own them, which have them as their prime real estate. So you can't sell those. I guess you could flatten them as part of the agreement, but you can't sell them, and Disney's never going to put themselves in a situation where they are paying a licensing fee for something they just sold. Let's give another example, though.
Well, they
Every
could
one
they
of the
could
Star
they could
Wars
they could claw those
shows-
out, right? That's one thing. I mean, these are all legal questions, but they could
Yes.
exempt those out. Obviously, that drops the valuation.
Well, and that's exactly right. So, okay, let's examine that for just a moment. So, what happens if you claw that out? Well, what happens is that $4 billion that you paid for originally, that included the idea that you could do theme park expansion. So, if that is clawed out, then whoever purchases Star Wars no longer has that opportunity, and thereby it diminishes the brand, and thereby when you sell it for less than it was before, then that 10 to 30% that Mike was discussing on the stock drop, well, that's going to be really, really bad because you've just given an objective indicator to all of your stockholders that, yeah, we killed a franchise. What do you think we're doing with the rest? And then the problem there is, okay, so what's 10 to 30% of 170 billion, which is the total value of the company, I believe. Well, 10 to 30% of 170 billion is way more than they're going to sell Star Wars for. So why sell it if you're going to take that kind of a hit? But let's go back to the Disney Plus shows for just a moment so that people understand just how complicated this would be. And it doesn't have to be, except that Disney never anticipated selling Star Wars. So they've not designed it in such a way that you can sever it easily. You could sever ABC much easier. You could sever some of the Fox content much easier. But with the Disney Plus shows, for example, these shows have contracts that are written with all of these writers, with all of these actors, with all of these directors, etc., and they feature milestone accomplishment, payments and all kinds of different tiers that are linked with how well the show does, and they receive payments based on the streaming content and the number of eyeballs that are on there. Well, what do you do if you're like George Lucas, which we know he's not going to buy it? Mike has said so. I've said so. Everybody has said so. But what do you do if you're not a streaming company? Like, do you have to leave it on Disney Plus because of the way the contracts are written, or can you pull it off of there and can you move it on another streaming service? Do you get sued Scarlett Johansson style? Do you need an army of attorneys for every single one of these?
Yes.
And that's just the two expansion lands and the Disney Plus shows. That's like 2% of the entire Star Wars universe of items and series and content. You would need an army of attorneys. Actually, this might work out well for you. I don't know. Well, you but you could work for the other side.
I did M&A. I mean, well, I would work for the other side. I work for the purchaser. I would 100% reach out to them and say, yeah, I'll work for you. I'll definitely help you out on that for sure.
So if you buy Star Wars, you not only have to pay enough that it outperforms the drop the stock will take, which is going to be substantial. So you've already got to pay that amount, or else there's no way the deal works. But you've also got to be able to pay tons and tons of legal fees to handle all of this giant mess just to rewrite the contracts.
Oh, sorry,
right, exactly.
Instinct.
So the money just begins to duplicate over and over and over. Whereas if you were to buy, let's say, the Muppets, it's drastically easier. Or if you were to buy
an element of that, right?
Not a pillar of the company.
Yeah,
right. Because as a pillar, they have put this in such a complicated manner that to sever it is, like Tom says, it's a tumor inside a tumor. Whereas I have said it's like 50 conjoined twins, and every one of them is connected together somehow.
Yeah, no, and I went over what you mentioned is just the tip of the iceberg for potential legal issues. Particularly, and this is the one rumor that I wanted to bounce off of here, and I addressed it in my video. But if it is true that a foreign oil tycoon, I think it was like the Saudi prince, if the Saudi prince was buying this and trying to build, let's say a theme park in Riyadh, this would become worlds more complicated. We're talking like Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Mike knows all about that. We're talking about like some serious examination and due diligence. This would take years to execute to try to sell it to a foreign political figure.
Well, I don't have any comment on that, but I do want to say, Mike, did you hang with me? Because I'm afraid I was boring. You were looking a little glazed over down there as I was getting into the Disney Plus shows. You still okay?
No, I'm good. I was just talking to the chat.
Oh, I got you. Good deal. Good deal.
He's a man of the people. I use
Mike's face as my barometer for how I'm doing. I can always look and go, okay, I'm all right.
Well, I mean, look, some people push back on me. Look, okay, so they can the executive team can go into closed session, Andrew, right? They can go into closed session and they could consider an offer.
Yes.
Right? Does it mean it's an SEC disclosure? No. Unless it's like a bona fide offer that's all worked out and they actually vote on it. But the way these things work,
it has to be a bona fide offer.
The way they work on an exec session is that they deal with all of the stuff and then they just don't do that formality that because if they do it eventually, if they do it in closed session and they vote on it, well, then eventually it's going to become an SEC disclosure. So what they do is they middle this shit around in exec session, and they just don't take any kind of official action, and then it goes away unless it moves forward, and then it becomes an SEC disclosure. But most business that's handled by these companies is done in closed session, not in open board sessions.
Well, at least the Saudi prince, and I'm not really, I don't know the likelihood of that a Saudi prince would be interested in picking up Star Wars for whatever reason. I don't even know where you would put Star Wars, in terms of streaming or what you would do with it. But
like I said, I think it would be more likely than George Lucas. I think Saudi Arabia really looks like Tatooine. I think there's a lot of potential for a real Tatooine experience. You are actually going to have to survive in the desert.
Look, if any of us had $100 billion, if I had $100 billion, I'd make Bob an offer right now for $3 to $6 billion to take take Star Wars off his hands. I would do it right now in a heartbeat.
I just heard Mike offer to do a Kickstarter. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Right here on the chat.
I'm just saying, like, is it possible someone out there with that kind of cash? Yeah, but you know who doesn't have that kind of cash right now? It ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be no George Lucas. That's for sure.
No. I think we're all kind of in agreement on that. Pro, I showed your tweet, but I think that's pretty confirmable. It is not going to be George Lucas. Like,
it's a romantic notion, Andrew.
I think that's where it came from. I think it's the equivalent of like Star Wars copium. It's Star Wars copium. The people that still want to hold out hope and they want to keep the dream alive. Guys, just let it go. Like, That's what
I said on Sunday. I came out full throttle, guns a-blazing. Yeah. Pro, you heard me.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. Listen, I would love if it were true. The content that I would have for 6 months would be unbelievable.
It would be fantastic.
All right, I'm the #1 fan of this actually coming true for reasons that are completely my own in terms of prosperity, but it's just simply not.
What do you guys think about breaking off ESPN as a component and selling ESPN? Good idea, bad idea? Some people have floated that as a potential thing. I say they've got it tied into the parks too with the wide world of sports. They could rebrand that, I'm sure, pretty easily.
That would be one of the easiest things to rebrand.
I would dump it.
You dump it?
I would dump it, even though it's generating. I've had this talk with Valiant. He and I disagree on this point because of
That's
how much
That's good. Ooh, drama. Let's start it. Let's do it.
Yeah, Valiant Renegade. What's going to happen to me and him getting a fight? I won't bring this live show.
Meeting in Georgia. That's the neutral
He'll be back
point.
on. Don't worry. He's still watching. There's no doubt.
No, I mean, I think he and I have talked about this and kind of disagreed a little bit because it does. He's right. Look, he's right about his facts that it generates a ton of cash, highly profitable, yada yada yada. But if there was a way that I could generate a ton of cash, that would be the value proposition. Because look, what are you going to do? Go back and try to sell Fox? You spent 70. God, what was it? Pro 74 billion? I can't remember.
Talking about Fox?
Yeah, which has no value now.
Well, what's really funny about that? You're right on the money. 74 billion. But that's essentially what they're essentially valuing Hulu now at that same amount. That's what's so funny to me.
So I need something with big, and so what I would do is I would freeze the losses. Remember, we have losses are coming from two places right now. Disney Plus, that sinking asshole that's of $12 billion of a ditch that they've got money lost. There's $12 billion of money lost in that ditch. They've got all these studios, whether they're Pixar, whether they're Lucasfilm, whether they're whatever, Marvel. None of them are making money, let alone breaking even. So
Hey, Mike, pause right there, because tomorrow morning we're bringing out a video on just how bad Pixar is. It literally may be the end of Pixar as we know it. Elemental, this just came out from Box Office Pro. The bottom number now for Elemental for its opening debut, $31 million.
Oh, fuck.
That would literally place it
did you say 31?
$31 million.
$31 million? I can make that selling churros in like a Tuesday night. Like, what the fuck is that?
They could make a remake of the Wuzzles, right? With the old South Park paper mache and do better. But that would put it at 40% audience numbers of Good Dinosaur. And Good Dinosaur was the most embarrassing thing Pixar ever had. So
I've never even heard of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Question here. So getting through these super chats. Hillis Mallory says, "Will Deadpool 3 come out under the Fox Studio banner?"
Well, Fox isn't even the studio anymore. It's 20th Century. They dropped
Okay.
the Fox part.
But would they?
Yes, as far as I know, it should. But then again, who knows? Because it's Marvel. It's hard to say.
And of course, you guys talked about it being pushed up now, rushing to get that out next summer.
And I believe it is being overseen by Marvel Studios, if I'm not mistaken. So
Do you guys know why probably it was rushed up?
we did speculate on that, and my main reason
Finances?
is
it
I
money?
think because they don't have anything else. First of all, everything else is getting delayed, and it's probably farther along than everything else.
I think personally, and that's definitely part of it. I think they looked at the situation where they're going to go. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy will break even, right? Probably, but profit, that's more questionable. I think they were looking at the possibility that every single Marvel movie from this year to next year, all the way until the holiday season, was going to lose money or barely break even. And they could not let that PR disaster continue. They had to get Deadpool 3 out there to change the narrative.
Yeah. That definitely that makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah,
That's all they have.
Disney still has Johnny Depp. Oh wait. in case you guys didn't see the news either, too, finally got that settlement money. Johnny Depp finally got that settlement money, which will be going to charities, the charities which he designated and will actually give the money to.
Where the hell did that hoe get that kind of cash?
You know where she got it. One night at Atlantis. With some simp. 2012.
Maybe the Saudi prince that we've been talking about.
There we go. My man is getting it here. 150 children employees cost Disney billions. Well, they're having some employee problems between strippers and Grady Judd hauling off their workers. Yeah, they're having some employee issues over there.
It's hot in Italy. What do you mean? I see you've got the 199 crew over here too.
Yes. A lot of the 199 crew, appreciate all of them in the chat. They're amazing. Ben Loken for 10 says, "Dang it, Bob. Elemental isn't going to make bank. Come on, Bob Iger and board. Big Disney and Company, a for-profit company, and great again. Hashtag dang it, Bob. Blame that on dang it, Mike."
I need Lassiter back. He needs to be hugging some people again. It would fix everything.
Everything. Let's see. Lord of the Rings says, "Did you see what they did to Fable? What did they do to? It's been a while. I played Fable 1.
They have a trans character now or some shit like that.
Oh, you gotta be. Okay.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, that's kind of lame at this point. I mean, that's digging the bottom of the barrel. I figure by now Microsoft would make us play as said character. That's really where we need to be at this point. Come on, Microsoft, if you're gonna virtue signal, let's really get in with the big boys like Activision Blizzard, and let's do it right. Let's really piss some people off.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, they're not gonna make a headline with that anymore. I mean, we're in a post like Abby world from Last of Us. You've got to do the whole thing. It's got to be more and more and more extreme.
Exactly.
Right? You've got to push the envelope. If you're gonna get that, you've got to push it. You've got to go crazy.
Rise to the occasion. Make us choose our genders 15 times throughout the playing process.
Or flash your breast
Your
implants
pixels.
in your breast implants in front of the White House on Pride Celebration Day.
That was disgusting.
Once again,
Really a high point for the executive branch.
Yes, and this is what Disney and them are backing. Just Peachy says, one thing that hasn't been widely discussed, but will add more financial headache for Disney, are NBA rights, which are up for renewal in 2024. I didn't know that. The current rights deal was $24 billion. The NBA is seeking $75 billion for the new. So they want 3x for new contracts. Where do they think people are watching the NBA en masse, like, as an increase? I don't think they've seen huge jumps. If anything, it's probably been dips, but I don't know what you guys
Currently,
think about.
the Walt Disney Company and Warner Brothers are in exclusive negotiating window to renew their contracts. The deal expires in 2025.
For NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So they get a little time.
Okay, they got some time. Yeah,
But the window that he's talking about in that chat is right now, and that window's expires in 2024. So the rights expire, but the negotiating window to renew closes in advance of that, and it's next year. Wow.
Gotcha.
Uh-oh.
Got it.
Bob better start that OnlyFans page we were talking about, Andrew.
Like I said, when it's the cluster of everything happening at once, that's when you have problems, right?
I thought the NBA was in decline, though. I don't know that they have. I mean, they can want whatever they want, but they don't have.
That's what I
think.
That's what I was going to talk. Like, I thought they were dropping, especially after they've gone full hog on the LGBTQA++ stuff and the pro CCP stuff. But I mean, I could be wrong.
Which are completely at heads, by the way. I don't know how they managed to do both of those, take both positions, which are dramatically opposed to one another, and still hold them. But hey, that's what they're up to.
Here's why it's okay. The CCP is okay with it if it's in America.
Oh yeah. Make sure to destroy our systems over here. Love it.
Yeah. They edit those scenes out in China, or they don't. Or the video never gets there, right? The movie never gets there. Let's see. Just Peachy says Kevin Mayer, former Disney DTC chairman, on shortlist to replace Iger, allegedly has been vocal that Disney should sell ESPN and ABC. Thoughts? I don't know about this rumor. This is a new one for me.
In my opinion, the two highest candidates that I've heard are Dana Walden and Josh D'Amaro. So those are the two leading candidates to replace Iger. Now, of course, things can happen, and Kevin Mayer could come in there. But I would put my money on Dana Walden, because we're in that kind of a world where Disney would love to have their first female CEO, even though they won't know what that means to have a female CEO, because nobody knows what that is anymore.
That chick is going to be a train wreck.
That'll be fantastic. That'll be glorious.
If that happens, from now on, all bets are on as to whether it be 3, 5, 7, or 10 years. No, it won't even go 10 years. 3, 5, or 7 years, that company will be in the dump.
Well, I'll tell you why I think she's the leading candidate. I mean, this is not just guesswork on my part, but there was a white tie dinner at the White House where they were hosting President Macron from France, and Disney was invited. They didn't send Iger, they didn't send Josh D'Amaro, they didn't send anybody else. They sent Dana Walden. Now, sending her to a white tie event at the White House, that doesn't come around often, and I found that intriguing that she was the one selected.
Yeah, no, it's
well, that means she probably is the leading character, but this is the bitch in charge of Disney Entertainment.
I don't know anything. So tell me more. Yeah, tell me more about Dana Walden. Like I'm pulling her information up here.
Correct me when I get something wrong, but Dana's isn't the one in charge of the entertainment division.
She's been heavily involved with ABC.
Hold on, I'll present here. Yeah, this is definitely somebody they would hire. This is definitely the diversity hire of the Disney.
She's currently co-chairman Disney Entertainment.
Definitely get the Karen in there. That's going to fix everything. Absolutely.
This is going to be a fucking train wreck. Yeah, this worked
Disney
out real nice for Silicon Valley Bank. Remember that, Andrew?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to bronze her skin, though.
Yeah.
No.
Do a little Splash Mountain treatment on her.
She's got her chief diversity officer. She's got all the cover and concealment she needs from a CEO.
That's a good point. And she gets the white female savior thing coming in there, so everything's good.
Yeah, no problems at all.
She's an ally.
Yes, she's an ally. She's an ally. So let's get through here. So strikes can get out of some contracts. Yeah, I think that's why we're talking about this. The Valiant was saying the strike saved Disney, because the strike is a way for them to not pay people. Correct?
Yep.
And a chance for them to not hire people back.
Yep.
And just say, hey, this is why we had to let people go. This is our reason, so.
They went on strike, Andrew. We were trying.
Do you think Disney organized that? Like behind it was like, hey, if you go on strike right now, we can actually use that as an excuse and kind of delay this. And
I defer that to Tom and Script Doctor. Tom?
Yeah. Whether they think that's like an inside baseball move they would do, being like, yeah, now's a good time to strike. How about you guys strike?
No, not really, especially after COVID. Because they have nothing. This is hurting them bad. This is part of the reason why they're moving up Deadpool, because they've got nothing else, right? And all their shows are getting delayed now. This is going to be a rough year.
It's really bad if it goes into the autumn or winter. But I'll tell you the reason I think the writer's strike happened when it did, because it's really hurting the industry at a time when it can't handle it. I think that artificial intelligence was getting to the point where it was really going to be an issue for the writers. They could be downsized dramatically, and I don't think they could wait any longer.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. You've got to
Thank
lock
you. I
yourself.
try to do those every once in a while. Every once in a while. I'm not next to Iron Man or Tom, but I try.
No, but you got to lock yourself in. You know, I love traveling, and for example, Brazil is a country I love visiting because they still have the gas station attendants. You know, and that's what I think of. I think of writers are going to become the gas station attendant. It's going to be quaint to have, you know, a team of pure writers that's not at least AI assisted, right? You know, like the AI generates does the bulk of the work, and they come in and do the polish and kind of shine up that turd and kind of crank it out.
Let me tell you one thing, Andrew. Don't mean to interrupt you here. I've been researching and talking with people who are artificial intelligence experts and trying to get a hold of this and how it's going to work in the future. And one of the things I've been learning about are these super prompts, the idea that you can generate far more out of artificial intelligence than people are aware. And so we actually tested this out yesterday, and we may do a video on it in the future. But earlier on, we did a thing where we had ChatGPT-4 write some scripts for us, and then we judged them. We had Script Doctor take a look at them, and he judged that they were at the novice level. But one way that you can get it to do far superior work, and this really should strike fear in the writers, have it write one script for anything you want, and then tell it to write a second script, and tell it to write it in a different style. And then once it's done that, then you tell it, now be the judge of these two scripts, combine them together and give me the very best of what you believe are the best parts of the script, and make it be uniform and excellent. And it will take the best. And essentially what you've done then is you've caused artificial intelligence to produce two very different products, then judge its own self for the superior parts of the product and present them to you. And it's like you have a team of 10 writers at a very high level when it's all said and done. It's amazing. I did not know how to do it until a few days ago when people were leading me through the process.
No, that makes sense, because that's sort of the photo combination. Like you take the two photos and you're like, all right, now combine these and make it better, right? And make it perfect, right? Make this, right? That's like, for example, with the famous, you know, pictures of the AI girls and they have bad hands. So they'll take the picture with the good hands and they'll put it in there and be like, okay, now with good hands, right? Now not with the alien face, right? And they'll merge those elements in so they get a final product that's actually really good. That's the future there on the script
Andrew,
side.
can I be selfish? I know you need to, you know, you've been going for a while, and I'm just hopping in brand new, and maybe guests are also getting tuckered out.
Sure.
But I want to be selfish and ask you one question while I've got you on the air. And
sure, go ahead.
It has to do with the situation with the former president. I don't want to take you into a place you don't want to go, but it has to do with artificial intelligence. I'm really intrigued by this question for entertainment purposes.
Sure.
Where are we headed legally when it comes to presenting evidence, when we're going into a world where artificial intelligence can create evidence that is as convincing or more convincing than the real thing, the real McCoy? And specifically with the former president, what do you make of the idea that he could just come out and say, in terms of whatever recording they have of him, you know, the audio recording, it's artificial intelligence? I never said that. Are we entering into that world where it's just we can't trust anything?
We're in that level. I think at this point, especially if you see something that's an image or on the internet or even recordings we're getting there, you need to doubt whether it's real. You need to question that. And that's where we're at. And we're going to need evidentiary standards. The courts are so slow. If you guys have watched any of these big trials, they are literally pinching and zooming on iPhones to find out, to look at photos. That's with the Rittenhouse trial. They were zooming in like that on an iPhone. That was how they were looking at this.
So are the courts even able to conceptualize it then?
The judges that are there are actual boomers, not saying that in a way. They do not understand technology. The younger ones that are coming up, even the ones that are there, they're either not there that yet, or they're ideologues that already have a pre-programmed way. So as long as they present evidence, this is the scary part, that looks okay, right? Oh, look, we have a photo. Never mind that it was computer generated, AI generated, right? This is going to be an issue. And it's going to be an issue for the prosecution and the defense on both sides of people just making up evidence. It can apply to the former president. It can apply to Trump. It can also apply to Biden. It can apply in all sorts of circumstances. So we are in that area.
Everything.
Yes.
I mean, it's something I worry about already. Is, you know, someone could take my voice, you know, and change it into something that I would disagree with, or you or Mike or whoever, and you know, I don't know yet how we defend against that.
let me just say, I don't think they could do it just like you, bro.
Well, thank you.
Now, let me get through this because I know we got to go. Blue Fire says, can't stick around for this one. Wanted to show my support. Congrats on hitting 100K. After locking it in their vault, I wonder how the rat will handle the possible sale of Star Wars franchise. We will see. I think the consensus was it's less likely than not, but we will see on that one. Ben Loken says, dang it, Bob. What was the newest Pixar trailer? Garbage.
No one knows.
Hot garbage. Could Disney start licensing Legends adaptations? I mean, mind you, you can license anything. So if you own the underlying IP, you can license out portions of that. You can chop that pie however you want. Will they though? I don't know. I'm not banking too much on that. Apple and Disney Star Wars joint venture. I think there's a lot of hype there for the Apple-Disney collaboration. How much money that relates to Disney, we will find out. I haven't read the contract. I haven't seen the terms. When I figure it out, obviously, all of us will cover that. Bob, where is Bob Iger's successor? Absolutely no plan. Well, I think we just talked about that. Obviously, that lovely Dana, is the most likely candidate. That makes complete sense. Particularly if she's head of entertainment. That would fit perfectly into the narrative. And lead them to be another Theranos, if you guys followed the Elizabeth Holmes story. JL says, F Josh tomorrow. What the F is this? Ruined the parks, and now is going to put Disney in its grave. Can't wait to pop the bottle to FD for this. Thank you very much, guys. With that, guys, make sure you guys are following Tom Connor's Midnight Edge, WW Pro, Mexican Iron Man. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been a prize. It's been a real ride with you guys. We will have, guys, in the chat, we will have a separate 100K stream. So stay tuned for that. You will get notices on this channel. I'll put it out on my community tab, on my locals. Stay tuned for that on Twitter. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, my guests, for joining me. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.